what does the future of 3D binaural audio sound like? How big will it become and when?
You're asking the wrong guy. I started this together with colleagues, this company 20 years too early, because we thought the digital audio was, coming along. So it's hard to make a prediction when and how big, but I think it is so many forces right now in action. So I'm quite confident. I think, as always, when something really changes, it's about a really strong use case, user experience. And there I see, for example, these telepresence for conferencing and virtual meetings being a big thing, potentially. And the other big thing is truly well-designed virtual concerts, I think, can have huge impact. And maybe something more mundane like regular games with head tracking, and you start getting used to it, and then you come to expect it. So I think it's a matter of time. And again, there I'm probably over-optimistic, because I think it could happen quite fast now, because all of the technologies are sort of available now to do it. But typically it takes more time than I think.
So my prediction would then be, as soon as you get it out to the consumers, get them to experience it, that is when it's going to boom. So it's not the technology, everything is there. Start getting people to use it and want it and becoming a standard.
That's the thing. You need to be where people are so that they experience it, then they want it. That's exactly right. Completely agree.
Then what is beyond 3D sound? Let us say another 50, 100 years. I mean, I've read online, AD, 10D.
Well, that sounds interesting. I think, I'm a scientist at heart, so I think beyond 3D in terms of physical space is hard to imagine. But I think that if we look at 50, 100 years, it's probably neural audio. Why should we have, speakers and headphones? Why don't we just go directly, connect to your brains electrically? And there's already experiments being done in that area.
Oh, Lord.
Why go, with these acoustic things if you could go directly into your brain? So that's, my prediction.
I just hear brainwashing.
No, I'm not saying that. That could be an unfortunate future, maybe. Let's not hope for that. But I think that's going to come, at some point.
And what further future research needs to be done in this area?
So we touched upon a few things. It's still about also perfection. So, we're always we're perfectionists at Dirac, and we think there's still a lot of improvements to be done. A lot, not all, but a lot of 3D audio today is a bit gimmicky. And that's something I think the industry needs to be careful not to do too much of gimmicky stuff that people actually get tired of and say yeah, but that's not fun, that's just a gimmick, and I'm getting annoyed by it. There are those examples. So there's a maturization that's needed also in how we produce content for it. But we need to experiment with it. Stereo caught on, even though Paul McCartney and the guys did some weird experiments, so I shouldn't say that maybe. But then it's also, like we talked about right now, in order to hear 3D audio, you're essentially limited to headphones or big speaker installations. But how many people can have, 15 speakers installed at home? It's not very convenient.
And if you could, what would the neighbors say now when they work from home?
Yeah, that's not going to be very popular. But one of the enablers might be cars, because that's where you also have multiple speakers. So I think that's a great venue to experiment with. But we need also to, and this is not so much research maybe, but more of commercialization, also of enabling like laptops and other small form factors like mobile phones with speaker systems that enable 3D audio in a good way. And this is happening. We're already doing stuff like that with companies like Asus and others. So
yeah, what is next for Dirac?
Oh, so many things. I don't want to tip off our competitors, but we're always striving to create superior sound experience and for more people. That's the other big part about us is we really want to democratize great sound. So it's about what you talked about, access. And how do we get this technology out to as many people as possible? And that's, to be honest, that's of course a lot of commercial work that you need to be where the mass people are. But then there are other interesting areas technology-wise. How do you work with multiple speakers to create all these exciting 3D sound fields? We have lots of work already done there, but we're looking into the next generation of that and other cool stuff.